Listen up, jackass. This is Stone Cold Talking Soap, here with a public service announcement. We are currently in the midst of a global pandemic due to the spread of COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus. Let me tell you something, you might get sick of corona, but that'll never happen if you drink a couple Steve Weisers or my very own Broken Skull IPA. Knock one back for the working man. Hey-ho! To help kick some virus ass and keep your community safe, I am encouraging you to wash your damn hands. Now, Stone Cold Soap doesn't mean just a little splash of water. You think that's gonna stop the spread of germs? First things first, son, you gotta wet your hands with some nice warm water. Then grab some soap and... Hey, I'm talking, you piece of trash! You gotta lather up. What? Make some bubbles. What? Some suds. What? Then scrub your palms. What? In between the fingies. What? Under the nails. What? You wash for at least 20 seconds, then just rinse and dry your hands, and that's all I got to say about that. If we work together, exercise proper hygiene and cleanliness, and follow the advice of health experts, then we can help stop a mud hole in COVID-19 and walk it dry. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold Soap said so. Wash up.
This is a presentation of RVT Entertainment.
This isn't about the dead, it's about the living. It's about my mother. It's about my sister. It's about my wife. It's about the 14 years it took me to go from undesirable to un-goddamn deniable.
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Small Joe, and you can see that statement is not true.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it.
In the back, there are men and women, seasoned professionals, dues paid in full, gunning to be the best.
I'll always light the way, and all you have to do is let me in.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Hey, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wrestle Cast, presented by RVT Entertainment on the BrokenInfinite.com, Automatic.com, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you may find this fine audio recording and live on RVT Entertainment's official Twitch.tv channel, where we talk about professional wrestling, both for the mainstream and the independent scene. My name is Matty Jay. That is TWK.
Hello, my name is TWK, and right now I'm telling you to wash your damn hands, take a goddamn shower, and use some goddamn deodorant, you son of a bitch.
You know what? I think we ought to leave the Stone Cold impressions to Jason Sensation and Brian Zane.
You think they're the best at doing this?
No, I think you're the best at Scott Steiner. Oh God, what have I done?
Scott Steiner is busy up in Detroit, staying isolated, practicing his social distancing.
What?
He's staying away from people.
What?
Keeping himself safe.
What?
Making sure he doesn't get the road.
What?
Are you deaf, son? Deaf or hearing?
What?
Need an aid?
What?
Keep warning me, and I'm about to stop my hole in your ass and walk you dry. And that's the fishing line, because Shark Boy said so.
I'm just having fun with this. At this point, we may as well start with a chuckle, for God's sakes. How are you teed up? How are you living in this apocalypse that we're living in right now?
Trying to survive. That's the best I knew. Just trying to avoid people as much as possible. And hoping that eventually things get back to normal, which, if I'm going by moderate guesstimations, it will be maybe August, hopefully.
It damn well better be August. I want to go to Power Morphicon. That's in September. Labor Day weekend, as a matter of fact. My fingers are
hello,
crossed.
Shin. How you doing?
Hey,
How you doing,
Shin.
Shin?
You just missed T-Dub do a good Stone Cold. Or a Shark Boy. Whichever one it is. No!
Fuck.
Oh, no. Hopefully he's not too young or too old. Well, hopefully he's not too young. For those in the audio version, Shintai Curl just announced that his cousin tested positive for COVID-19. Ah, man.
I hope he survives this.
Take care of him, man. Take care of him. Ah, it sucks.
All right, so
Let's get on to whatever the fuck we
then.
have left to talk about as far as wrestling is concerned. There is still plenty, but we'll get to what happens after Test came back today. Let's hope he gets over it. That makes sense. If he's had it all week, that makes sense. Anyway, so we still at WWE and we still at AEW, and we need to have a talk on that. But before we do, we will talk about what happened. Of course, WrestleMania got a few big changes, especially a big dog change. Let's put it this way. And well, that's all we can do. Hopefully, we get Hopefully, we get more chuckles. What? Some laughs. What? A few ha-has. What? Some humor. I'm going to stop. We begin our clip of the week. We have two. We have two clips, and I couldn't leave. It's Wednesday, and Wednesday kicked ass for a myriad of reasons. It's as much ass one could kick in empty arena settings. But we begin with NXT, which I have thoughts. They've been in my head for a couple of days. But before we get to that, we do need to talk about this stuff. None other than, only one man could take out Olberg. None other than Berlin. Ooh. Is he accompanied by The Wall, by chance?
It's the wall, brother. It's the wall.
Berlin and The Wall. So we begin with the losing end of the Wednesday Night Wars, unfortunately, NXT, which had some nice stuff, all things considered. They filmed it at Full Sail, an empty Full Sail University NXT studio, and well, they gave us something nice. When something goes out of control, who do they call it to try to calm it down? Call on Papa H. Take a listen.
I can understand where you're both at with this. I've been there. Sean and I went through this. All of it. The two of you got to know, and I get it from a professional standpoint. I get it. But trust me, guys, there's going to come a time in your life, like what everybody is going through right now, where all that is going to be put aside. You'll realize you had something more in life than what happens in this ring. But that aside, I get it. But it's got to end.
What people don't understand is this was supposed to end last year, but this guy went and broke his neck. My biggest regret right now is I wasn't the one who broke it. Let's keep him back.
Just calm down.
Talk about bigger things going on in the world. Bigger things have been going on in my world for the last year of my life. You're right, I broke my damn neck. I gave away my life. And now I'm telling you, just like I'm telling you, this needs to end.
After everything you two have been through, you deserve this to be on the biggest stage there can be.
We don't need a big stage. We don't need that. All we need is a ring, a referee, a camera guy. Put us wherever you want.
You say you know better than anybody.
You and Sean know better than anybody. This is about one thing. Who's the face of this company? Who's the heart and soul of NXT?
It's me. A spoiler for you. It's me. I am the heart and soul.
Great. You guys want to finish this? You don't need a crowd. You don't need an arena. Just the two of you?
Just the two of us.
I'll give you that opportunity. When you want it. You ready now?
No, I'm not ready now. He put me through a table 2 weeks ago. He threw me off a perch, this man.
Now tell me how long you need. What do you need?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm going to find an empty building. I'm going to put a ring in there. I'm going to give you a referee. But when it's over, it is over. Do you understand me, both of you? When it is over, it is over. Two of you will walk into the building when I find one. One of you will walk out, and it's done. I promise you that if it continues after that, I heard you both say that this place isn't big enough for the two of you. Well, it is. Because if it continues on after that, then neither of you will be here. And you won't have to worry about being the heart and soul of NXT, because NXT will carry on without you.
Now, what was not put into the vote, into the thing, was at the end when Triple H said, this is the end, this is over, we will move along without you, was a bit, a vignette, if you will. And that vignette said, hey, Killer Cross is coming, TikTok. And not the app, the actual TikTok. Well, that was the thing. And God damn it, I can't help but feel like when Triple H started to say you guys deserve to be in a bigger stage, and then they start setting up what is ostensibly an empty building match, yeah, another one, for 2 weeks from now. This is the blow off. And they wanted this blow off to happen. And 2 years in a row, the blow off fucks up because of things out of their control. And they said, wait, we gotta wait. No, it's too molten hot. We gotta do it. T-Dub, I don't think they should have that empty arena match. I think they should have waited. Suspend them. Do an angle where they suspend them for X amount of days. And then, okay, they come back. You want to keep going? Keep going. But you want to keep going? All right. Hell in a Cell, take over whenever the fuck we're allowed to get a takeover in front of a crowd. The other part of me is like, you know what? Fuck it. End it. Give us the end of the story. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It's a very tough call. Like, it is a match that deserves to be seen in front of a live crowd, but at the same time, we don't know when the next time that will be.
And that's like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I hate it. I hate for Gargano and Ciampa to get back at it, and then shit hits the fan by no fault of either man again, and then you go, well, what the fuck do we do? And do we do it? Do we tape everything like WWE's been doing for the next X amount of time, and hope this shit blows off, or at least they're allowed to put the convene to a point where they actually keep filming, bulk taping things until X time happens? Or do they say, fuck it, well, let's do an angle where you guys beat each other up and then y'all are suspended?
It really is a tough decision.
It's a
And speaking of tough decisions, the following people are not going to be seen on WrestleMania in a couple weeks. That being Roman Reigns, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Andrade, and Dana Brooke.
Yeah, and all of them are either felt sick or felt uncomfortable. In the case of Dana Brooke, she felt like she had a fever and said, I'm staying home. I don't know what I got. I don't think I got it, but I ain't risking anyone else. Rey Mysterio, same thing. They tested him. They said, okay, he's fine, but he had a fever. It's like, hey, fuck it, stay home.
And Andrade is currently injured at the moment.
Yeah, he racked up an injury on Monday Night Raw, unfortunately. So that match is all kinds of foobar. Roman is the biggest one. It happened literally as we went off the air last night when we were doing Jackbox Party Pack. We did that over a recap because guess what? Despite the fact there was no Kids' Choice Awards, Nickelodeon said, "Fuck it, we're keeping kayfabe as being assholes." We finished this off, and literally the first thing, my phone blows up. Hi, everybody, Roman's is done. Roman's out. Why? Well, folks, he had leukemia last year. Now, where was that? What does that have to do with anything? There's chemo. There's stuff and things. And you may have heard of the term immunocompromised, and it's a legit thing. It's your immune system takes a hit for taking chemo and all that stuff. Science, folks, science. And Roman went, ain't no paycheck big enough for me to show up anymore. And he went to Vince and said, listen. 2 weeks ago, I would have been with you, but now, no. I'm out. Find someone else.
And do you want to know what the rumored replacement for him is?
I hear it is Braun Strowman.
Yep, that is the word going around.
Look, I get it. Braun Strowman off the Intercontinental title thing. And had he kept his fingers off his phone for 5 minutes and not be that asshole, I'd be okay with it. It's a good plan B.
There's always a plan B.
But now, Shin Tiger Curl said it best, Braun, I can't fit my ass in a Kia Soul, bro. Get a job, you maggots. In what economy, asshole? Half the jobs are shit. The other one ain't hiring because they ain't doing jack fucking interviews for the next 3 fucking months. And you got a freaking guaranteed contract with merch and shit. You got a downside guarantee. Sorry, leftover rant. It's been
but you understand, I came to this company on my own with my 2 hands with $150.
May as well be $150,000, you fucking idiot. Look, I get it, but at the same time, they are lucky it's empty arena stock, because I guarantee goddamn to you, if that scenario happens in front of a crowd, it's WrestleMania 20 all over again.
And hey, at least half the people in the match are the same.
And for those who don't know, no, not the Benoit thing. No. Goldberg. Watch Goldberg versus Lesnar, the first one. If you've never seen a shit show, a shit show in front of Madison Square Garden, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, special referee Stone Cold, who was the only man getting cheered in that match.
The guy that's supposed to be out of the way was more over than the two guys beating the shit out of each other.
Anyways, to other news, Orange County, which is where WWE's Performance Center and Full Sail is located, those places are going to be put on lockdown.
Basically, they're on lockdown right now. The order came in a couple of days ago, and the order was valid starting midnight yesterday. So Thursday midnight. 11:59, go home, stay the fuck home. So basically, what happened? WWE was in bulk film mode SmackDown was, I believe, was live to tape, was taped. Raw, SmackDown, all the way till April 6th. The order is April 9th. So all that shit, everything. Raw, Smack, NXT, and yes, including WrestleMania, will be on tape.
We're living in a very bizarro time.
Which means if this was filmed, if all that shit was filmed before Roman, nope the fuck out. They're safe, but if they didn't film Roman before they know versus Goldberg before they noped out, oh shit, they might have already taped Braun versus Goldberg. Or a popular theory that I've been reading online is night one, Cena versus Wyatt, the Fiend. And the winner of that faces Goldberg in night two.
Can I say how happy I am that spoilers have been kept pretty much to nothing?
And there are people who say there are spoilers. Russell Votes is famous for those things, and he said, "Nah, no, not Mania. I ain't doing it. If it leaks, it ain't from me." Which, by the way, if by some chance you're one of those guys who know the results and spoil those results, fuck you.
Also, I think I know why those results are being kept to a minimum, because the teams being used to film these are being kept to a minimum. So if anything newsworthy gets out, they're going to know who's doing it.
Yeah, and they will shit can the fucker responsible.
Vince will be like, okay, which one of you 5 people here talked to Dave Meltzer? Which one of you 5 motherfuckers talked to Mike Johnson? Which one of you was it? And
it's either you speak up now, eat the fine, or everyone eats the fine. And it's a WrestleMania payday that's been cut in half because of this shit. Actually, I wouldn't think that he'd cut that shit in half because it's WrestleMania payday. But anyway,
and it was one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say a match that just got announced was Cena versus Wyatt. It's going to be a Firefly Funhouse match.
So basically, that's what it is, Firefly Funhouse. And the card stands at 15 matches total for both nights. Now that everything has changed, so officially speaking, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair still on, Lesnar, McIntyre still on, more than likely taped. Goldberg versus Roman Reigns is still official, so there's no official word on if they've changed it or if they filmed it or not. I mean, the Roman Reigns getting noping out could have been noped out until past the April 6th mark, and he said, well, look, I ain't showing up. So for all we know, this could have been filmed. Lynch Baszler still on. Cena, Bray Wyatt, that's still on. There's a 5-way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The 6th person was supposed to be Dana Brooke. She had to nope out because of obvious reasons. Taker versus Styles in a, quote, boneyard match. So more like a sounds to me like a buried alive match in a field, but more like. But Owens Rollins, that's still on. Morrison and the Miz, Miz is out, so that match will be compromised. But it was
probably it's going to be a Morrison versus one of the Usos in a ladder match.
More than likely, it's a trip. Right now, it's Morrison, and it's officially been booked as Morrison and the Miz, New Day, and Usos in a triple threat ladder match, SmackDown Lag Tech. That's officially what it is. Street Profits versus Austin Theory and Angel Garza, because as you mentioned before, Andrade he had to know about due to injury. So Austin Theory making his pay-per-view debut on a WrestleMania.
His main roster debut was at WrestleMania. When the fuck was the last time that happened?
Jesus, Fandango. His first official match was Mania 29.
Fuck. Forgot about that one. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
I know, right? Chris Jericho. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, because why the fuck not? Elias versus Baron Corbin. They did a bump thing on Friday on SmackDown tonight. Elias did the thing, and he got thrown over the scaffolding, and Ciampa and Gargano went jerk-offs. Did it before. Edge, Orton, last man standing. That's still on, thank God. Though, goddamn, that's got to feel weird for Edge. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship. The rumor is it would have been triple threat, Sami and Bryan with Gulak in there as well. But as of right now, it's Zayn versus Bryan. Otis with Tucker versus Dolph Ziggler with Mandy Rose. Rounds off the field. So this is with in no particular order, obviously. This is the match as it stands, as of recording, 10:25 Eastern Standard Time, March 27. Obviously, shit has changed already, and shit will change more. Probably by Monday, we'll know even more. So next week, when we preview the show, it'll be the most awkward thing ever.
Yeah, moving on over to AEW, still in beautiful Florida as
You're
well.
coming in quiet there, T-Dub, by the way.
That's weird.
Yeah, you're coming in quiet.
Talking, enunciating, using my words. How
Still
am
quiet.
sounding?
I got you bumped up to max.
One moment, please.
Or you're coming in a little better on that exchange. Live, ladies and gentlemen, live. Because if I talk loud and you don't talk loud, you sound quiet. It's so super awkward.
Everything looks good on my end.
All right, give me another mic check then.
Hello, welcome to the Wrestle Cast. I'm your host TWK of TWK Reviews.
Perfect. All right, we're back. We're back to goodness here. You're
right,
too
anyways,
far. I think you're too far for the microphone. I think that might have been it. Anyway, moving on.
All right, so AEW, the match on Dark I want to talk about is Shug D versus Kip Sabian, because we got to see Sugar Dunkerton, aka Shug D, on AEW. That was awesome.
More of Sugar Dunkerton on AEW. Awesome.
Yep.
Agreed there.
Hashtag We the Indie.
Damn right.
Also on this week's AEW Dynamite proper, Tony Schiavone and Kenny Omega called the first match, and then later on, it was Schiavone and Cody, with Brandy resuming roles as ring announcer.
Being mad as hell. The lower third, the first lower third, she's back. And the second third, oh, she mad as hell. Well, if you can't fly in Justin Roberts, for obvious reasons.
She's still a good ring announcer. I'll give her that.
She is, yeah. You go with the one who has experience, and who has more experience in ring announcing than, well, the Eden Styles.
So one of the most talked about things by Dynamite this week was Brody Lee's promo.
And apparently, someone at WWE, Vince McMahon, is apparently pissed over a parody, over a thing.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either. If they are, they're petty as fuck. Luke Harper, I think at this point, Luke Harper's pulling what Steve Austin did in ECW when he left WCW.
Welcome to Monday Night, where the big boys play with each other. Ain't that right, Bongo?
Come on, Bongo! Slaps him off the table. I mean, it's what it is. That's how I see it. It's Luke. It's literally Brody Lee saying "fuck you" to Vinnie Mac in the best way possible, while retaining the heel persona.
Here's the thing. To anyone who is not a fan of this, I will defend it because he's doing it in a way where you don't have to know the reference to enjoy this segment, but
Absolutely.
knowing the reference helps.
I mean, the sneezing was the obvious tip off, because Vince is notorious for hating sneezing.
Who the fuck is sneezing around me? You're suspended.
God damn it. I so wish for Vince to get karma up the ass, and actually, I do not wish And by the way, I will put this disclaimer on right now. I do not wish anyone catch COVID-19. Dude, I don't. But god damn it, there's a part of me. There's an evil son of a bitch back there in my head going, what if Vince gets it?
I don't get sick, goddammit. I just work off the pain. Yeah, give me some weights.
I mean, fuck.
You know that's how you'd respond to it, right? You'd start just working out even harder.
With a cough and a fever of 100 and 100 fuck you degrees Fahrenheit? Good luck, pal. Oh, and Shin, according to Talk is Jericho, this was brought up in Talk is Jericho. You do not interrupt Vince when he's eating.
Wow, that's interesting.
Did you try to talk to me while I'm trying to eat my meat wrap?
Vince, that's a burrito.
What the fuck is a burrito?
It's true. Oh, I need to get my chair fixed or replaced. It keeps doing that. Vince? Oh, Vince is fucking nuts.
Yeah, he is an absolute crazy person, if you can't tell just by the fact that he wouldn't push Brody Lee because he couldn't do a Southern accent. The man that you've been seeing on television doing this awesome promo, having a pretty decent squash match, wouldn't get pushed because he couldn't do a Southern accent. That's why he was stuck in tag teams his entire career in WWE.
One of the best big men in the business before Vince touched him, too.
All right, another thing we're going to talk about, a match that I knew was going to be a barn burner because it was a match that started in the ring at 9:15, and it was announced as the main event of the evening. I'm like, oh, here we go. They're getting this time. That being Kenny Omega versus Sammy Guevara for the AAA Mega Campeonato.
And main event it was. Goddamn, boys. Good job. And someone give props to Sammy Guevara trying to take advantage of the no crowd allowed. The one thing that hurt AEW, unfortunately, was last week they allowed wrestlers in ringside to just give some kind of atmosphere. This week, essential crew only. They just cut to the back where guys were cheering the TV, essentially.
Which also was entertaining. It would have been, I do like how they kept cutting back to them. And even Dasha Fuentes ended up getting involved in it.
Dasha was in there.
Showing that, hey, WWE, your backstage interviewers don't have to be robots. Dasha has personality. Look at
him. She's a person, not an iPhone. Anyway. This does...
So excited. It was great.
Before we get to what we get to gush about in a few minutes, because we're going to gush the shit out of this last segment there. We got to bring the room down because...
Well, I'm not done talking about the match because there are some interesting things.
Go. No, yeah, true. Go.
First off, the drawings at ringside, including Chris Pine, who Cody didn't recognize despite being a huge Trek fan.
He must have said, God damn it, I'm losing a couple of cards for that one.
Yep. And he said he had to get filled in by CD.
Yep.
Whoops. And, of course, there was the moment where Sammy took the Brandy drawing and started making out with it. And then Brandy giving one of the best expressions I've ever seen.
Oh, God. That face got memed lickety-split, I tell you.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
My God.
This match also has an interesting statistic attached to it now. Because this makes it Kenny Omega's third defense, beating Phoenix's 2 defenses with the title. How long has Kenny's reign been? As of right now, 161 days. Phoenix's reign, 420.
AAA does not really care for championships. Oh, they do. It's more of a tag team thing than anything else.
Yeah, they definitely care about the tag belts. They're seeing their Mega Championship not nearly as much as you can tell. So just a little interesting thing I thought I'd point out there.
It's an interesting stat if you do follow Lucha Libre, and T-Dub does.
I'm just a bit of a stats nerd every now and again. I like to do those things.
Nothing wrong, man. Rock out with your geek out. That's what I say.
Anyways, as you were saying, to bring the room down after
Before we
this
get
amazing...
the Broken Matt being Broken Matt here, or Damascus, we got to bring up the fact of you brought it earlier with Orange County, Enrico Homer. Nerd! We got to talk about, obviously you brought up Orange County doing the stay-at-home order. For those wondering, Orange County is Orlando and everything is in the surrounding cities, essentially. That shuts down WWE until April 6th, till April 9th. Jacksonville's not too far behind. If I'm Tony Khan, I am panic bulk taping everything. Like, I don't care if we have to be live, we'll put a tape on for whatever we need, but at this point, it's becoming a risk of going live every week now. Not just for the health, but what if you can't put 3 people in a room? Like, even in an outdoor setting, you can't even get... Like, there are some gathering busters, at least here in Canada, that will bust anything above 5 people. They won't... What they did this week, they got away with, but next week, they won't be able to. What the fuck do you do if you can't do shit for 2 months? Or like 3 weeks in the case of Orlando.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really tough choice, and I'll be very interested to see where Tony Khan goes with this, because it is ultimately up to him.
If I'm Tony Khan, I'm going, guys, we're filming. We are taping anything and everything we need to last the 2 weeks, because the minute they drop a call to saying stay home, we're fucked. And it's just a reality. It's the reality we are living in, unfortunately.
It is. And
I understand Pride says he live every week, but someone on TNT must be intelligent enough to go, okay, go as live for as long as possible, but bulk tape everything. Have at least 2 episodes of Dynamite in the can, at the very least, if you have to. Because this shit will bite. It will come to bite AEW. This is the reality there.
Very much agree there. And moving on from that, of course, we had Chris Jericho confronting not only Matt Hardy, but their West Coast correspondent, Vanguard 1.
Vanguard, Van, last name Guard. Second last name 1. Cody and Kenny get it. Like, they brought... So they weren't the best on commentary ever, but they didn't care. They just said, let's have some fun, and it showed up. This one, okay, Chris Jericho shows up with the Britney Spears mic. He's got a lavalier on. And so does Broken Matt, obviously. And that's the only thing that will expose, because if you see the microphones. But Jericho shows up. I want Matt Hardy to join the inner circle, like he did with Jon Moxley. Chris, you do know what happened the last time? Lost a $750,000 car and the AEW World Title. Do you really want to try that strat again with the batshit insane dude who thinks he's Damascus? And on the other hand, T-Dub, god damn, I missed that man. I missed that broken brilliance.
Oh yeah, it's back. It's in full force.
Oh, like they tried with
Vulcan
Matt Hardy. We got a taste, but this is the good shit right here, man.
Let's see Matt Hardy teleport around an arena.
And people saying this, people are talking shit about it. It's like this and that. This would not happen. This would not happen. Brian Alvarez, he didn't like it, but it's like, if there's one time to do it, now's the time to do it. You can only pull up and nail off of that setting. And God damn the talk, God.
I loved it. I love every bit of this cheesiness.
Saying the greatest hits, elite, delete, elite, delete, elite, delete. Chris Jericho will fade away and classify as obsolete. Obsolete! He had to know that 800,000 plus people were doing that exact thing as soon as he said obsolete. Obsolete! God damn, I love wrestling sometimes. Chris Jericho calling a drone a son of a bitch, cutting a promo on a drone in 2020.
I don't appreciate your political views on social media. You're a son of a bitch. I like you, and I respect you, and I want you to join the inner circle, Vanguard 1.
And the drone fly nopes the fuck out. Jericho
Get
points
back here,
it.
you son of a bitch!
24 hours later, it's wrestling's answer to a mad pissed off woman pointing at a pissed off cat meme.
Or I've seen one with a picture of Chris Jericho on the newspaper. Old man yells at drum.
Simpsons reference. I saw it too. Delete, 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 delete.
I think during this time we need this type of goofy, corny bullshit.
I needed that because, like, this is so corny. This is horse shit. And people turn off. I don't blame them. But at this point, I needed that on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I need it. We need more of that.
Yeah, and as long as Matt Hardy's around, we're going to be getting plenty of it. Because here's the thing, even if things get canceled, Matt Hardy can just cut promos from wherever in his compound.
Absolutely. And I could see it happening too. You know, it's like, and they could do a 2-camera edit shoot from anywhere. I think they got the facilities to pull that off.
Yeah, probably. And best of luck to AEW moving forward. Keep putting on good shows. And I guess I should know just for the sake of posterity that AEW beat NXT once again. Water's wet, sky's blue.
Yeah, and the AEW did outside of news, political stuff, and other kind of stuff. They were number 2 in the country as far as the Nielsen ratings. That's a good thing. And NXT didn't even chart,
which is kind of sad. When they tried this week, they apparently tried.
Man. They had no choice but to try and
try.
Again, they are victims of an old man, of an old bastard who doesn't know what the fuck to quit.
Yeah, and according to Mark Henry, Vince won't quit because that's what Vince will apparently see it as, just quitting and conceding and giving up.
When it's the smartest business thing to do. And Vince quit on XFL in 2001 saying it's not the prudent business thing.
Well, the past 19 years have really done his brain in.
What the fuck has he be eating / drinking to fuck up his brain that hard?
That's just called getting old. He ain't the man he used to be.
Still. Motherfucker.
And the last bit of news I have is OSW has been releasing free content from their premium archives.
Yeah, essentially they have their Patreon, like T-Dub and the Shades and a few other people of RBT. They have their Patreon and they have their stuff line. Their Noggru Noggdru University. And,
where they have Patreon exclusives.
And I have a few of them because I was contributing to the Patreon until I lost my job last year. But I did contribute, and I got a few things. They started posting. Jay Hunter started posting up some stuff, and anything new until this whole thing blows over, will be allowed.
It also looks like he's posting some classic stuff from Noggru because he posted their review
countdown featuring
Countdown.
Featuring Rusev putting it. Was it Rusev putting the gun at Dolph?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't actually watch the movie because the whole scene of them in the WWE event takes up like just 10 minutes of the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it's literally a happenstance. So that's okay. They needed something to do. Something. Oh, and Devin the Great. Hell comes to Frogtown. Yeah, buddy. My favorites, though, them gushing over the Aliens movies. The first two, obviously.
Hope they post those to YouTube as well.
That'll be awesome.
And I have to thank Jay Hunter and the boys for doing that because, people, of course, being stuck at home need some entertainment, and that's why I'm working double hard on my latest review, trying to get that out within the next week.
You'll have a little extra time on your hand to do that too.
Yes, I do. And I've done quite a bit of recording the video game footage, but video game is still a bit long, and so it's still going to be a little while, but I'm trying my best to get it out as fast as possible because, like I said, people need entertainment, and I hope this does a good job of entertaining.
Now, before we get to the emails, I want to bring up a thing or two here. And it's going to be pretty simple. For those wondering what happens after our show, our After Mania show, and to be quite honest, we don't know. Like we obviously have tonight and next week WrestleMania preview, and then next week we review WrestleMania. That's 3 weeks of shows. After that, we have no fucking clue. Like this might be like we don't have a third segment. We have we'll shoot the breeze and talk about other wrestling stuff and might talk about some geeky shit, but beyond that, we don't know. Like that's the crazy part. And hopefully, like I said, we have the next week and the week after that with WrestleMania weekend, the preview of it anyway. And then after that, we shrug. Because at this point, we talk about Raw, SmackDown, we want to do that again. And maybe AEW NXT, and that's it. I mean, that obviously that's what we've been talking about, but there's always NWA, and then, of course, news, MLW, Impact to some extent.
The thing is, every company that is not AEW or WWE has essentially shut down for the moment, being like, New Japan just canceled this week their Psycho Genesis show.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to be able to try to pull it off, but obviously with the lack of New Japan Cup providing continuity as far as who gets to face the champion, the double champion, that was going to be a steep hill, and obviously things not being fixed lickety split, it was the obvious thing to do, which sucks because I could use some New Japan wrestling right now. I don't know about you.
So long. It's been so long. It feels like we're going to have to wait until Dominion, it looks like, if things keep going this way.
June, by the way, folks. That's June.
That's the next major show.
With the Olympics being postponed, there's at least there's a window where if things are back to a normal of some sorts, okay, there's a gap to fill.
New Japan Cup in the summer.
Well, they have G1 Climax starting in September, I think.
They do.
So just maybe a couple of tour shows that help fill the data gap for lack of the content gap that this virus is leaving a hole in.
I was hoping that things here in the U.S. are clear enough here by the time New Japan gets here for the MSG show.
One can hope at this point. Only one can hope. I hope. It's I don't know what to say, honestly. It's tough to it's tough to predict this. This is it's uncharted waters, and it's scary as hell. But here we are.
Just gotta take it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's it. I may have to get a beefier computer just so I could stream Fire Pro Wrestling to put some wrestling stuff on. Live stuff at the very least, with commentary and me providing ha-has with T-Dub, It may come that I don't know. I have no fucking clue what to do outside of the show after Wrestle. Hope this will not be the end of the Wrestle Cast, by the way. We ain't going on that kind of whimper, but it may be a case of this show goes on hiatus because we are a wrestling show with no wrestling to talk about. We are a current events show. Now, again, we have next week, WrestleMania weekend. Until then, who knows? But, that being said, I think, I'm harping on. Let's read an email or two, shall we? It's
Do it.
time for emails and comments of the week. You can send them over to WrestleCast@gmail.com. And we begin this, as we always do, with our good buddy. You know who it is.
French Otaku!
And Jay Coggins in the chat. Jeff Goldblum, will there be any wrestling on this wrestling podcast? Podcast? I mean, the last couple of weeks at least. Like, if this goes long, I'd say worst case scenario, AEW is forced to shut down for a couple months because they can't do live shit in WWE. They get away with like some bulk taping, but for like X amount of time, and you know, that's it, that's all, and we only have so much filler to talk about. We may just bring up a few people and just shoot the shit for an hour or something like that. That might be the show for a while. But for now, I don't know. For right now, this is what we have. French Otaku, as T-Dub brought up first. Well, talked about a massive shakeup. I know, right? Hello, WrestleCast. I'm at day 11 of my lockdown and talked about a massive news. We'll get to that later. I'm not going to preview WrestleMania 36 since I don't know if I'll watch it since it's a mess in itself. Should have postponed it, Vince. But I can make a review of this. Dark Side of the Ring Season 2 premiere on Chris Benoit. That's third seg, by the way. We got to do that. This was an amazing documentary talking about the downfall of the Rabid Wolverine, and it has to talk about the death. And it had to talk about the death of Eddie Guerrero, which is as heart-wrenching as it is. And the death of Eddie was the beginning of Chris's downward spiral. Not only did it affect Sandra, Nancy's sister, Vicky, Dean, Jericho, Chavo Jr., especially him since he saw Eddie die in his arms, poor man, but especially David Benoit, who had to live with this heavy burden. I wish I could make some lighter comments about these. So Vicky does like his Eddie's rear end, and so Vicky did like Eddie's year end when he was Black Tiger. That explains everything. Can we call it Mexico's best ass next to Captain America? Yes, that is Mexico's ass. And I'm amazed that was Paul Rudd making that line, not God damn, we were talking about that earlier. Ryan Reynolds. That's what it is. David, why did you have to play WCW Mayhem and not WCW NWO Revenge? Why did you have to play
Mayhem is a perfectly serviceable game.
Number one, T-Dub said it. Mayhem is fine. Mayhem is fun.
It's not terrible.
It's decent. I mean, look, it's Electronic Arts before EA became EA. What we know of EA now. Or the beginning of it anyway. But this was EA's first effort, was Mayhem, and they did fine.
Better than Backstage Assault.
Fucking A, right it is. And let's be fair, David probably was a PlayStation guy. You try to get WCW NWO Revenge on PlayStation 1. Give you a minute. And by the way, French I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the people who are taking a shit on it. Anyway. Overall, it was a great episode, and I did watch all episodes of Season 1. I cannot wait for the rest of Season 2. Question, do you agree that Nancy, a.k.a. WCW's woman, belongs in the Hall of Fame for her work as a manager? That's a good question, actually. Because woman was a pioneer in that valet role. Like, seriously, before, WCW'd woman, in a sense, watching some of her stuff, her early stuff, she was a good heater.
Yeah, she was a fantastic manager. I think that's one thing that gets lost a lot. I mean, I've seen a lot of her stuff in ECW and WCW. She is a fantastic manager. I mean, she was a part of the whole. When people talk about the Sandman Tommy Dreamer angle, people forget that woman was also a part of that angle.
She was part of that angle. She was an essential part of that angle, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, it's a tough sell. It's, you know, Jim Ross was talking about does Chris Benoit belong in the Hall of Fame, and he would, and if Chris Benoit was aware of everything that happened, even Chris Benoit would say, okay, no, I don't know. I would be too much of a distraction. You know, I would be like the first one, and then everyone would be like, well, this is awkward. No, absolutely not. In that same vein, does women belong in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely, but there's that awkwardness of that happened. And considering how WWE has outright blackballed Chris Benoit, period. Again, it's a tough sell. It's a shame because, you know, they're talking about that in the documentary, in the thing, where it's a shame because the family is blacklisted for something they had nothing to do with, that they had no control over. And it's unfortunate. Those women belong in a Hall of Fame? Yes. I don't think WWE will, but any pro wrestling Hall of Fame that does include her posthumously, woman, absolutely. AEW Dynamite, Brody Lee impersonating Vince McMahon. I'll take it. This episode was fine. I did love the confrontation between Jericho and Matt Damascus Hardy. Nothing much to say outside of some good matches. Winners? Saw a teaser for Killer Cross on NXT. My body is ready. TikTok. Dark Side of the Ring. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Plus, what offers season 2 has got my interest, especially with Owen Hart. Speaking of which, what would you like them to talk about in a future episode if season 3 would be green-lighted? See, season 1 did a lot of good stuff. The match made in heaven was a good episode. The Benoit thing had to be done. Owen Hart, especially with the
Plane ride from hell.
Oh God. Well, there's one. There's one. Absolutely.
People
There's
think
one.
I'm joking, but that incident ended careers.
It did. Perfect. Among them.
I believe Scott Hall was also there.
Scott Hall was in there. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Plane ride from hell. Absolutely. There's a few. They talked about the Von Erichs. That was an obvious one.
I got one.
Sure.
Women in WWE pre-Revolution. I'm sure that Gail, Kim, Lita, and all of them, they got stories. They got stories.
Oh, absolutely. I just thought of one as well, actually. The steroid trial.
Yep, there's another one. Boom.
The whole thing about steroids and drugs in the 80s and how it almost tanked WWE in 93, 94.
JC, that
Fabulous Moolah was in season 1. It was the finale for season 1, as a matter of fact.
What was?
Moolah.
Oh,
Fabulous Moolah.
They actually are doing Dino Bravo this season.
They actually, Dino Bravo's on it, on Enochiism.
I don't think that would appeal to an American audience.
I mean, there's a subset that I think would be interested in it, and obviously Kim Justice did a decent job before the video got taken down. But no, it's tailored towards a North American wrestling audience. I mean, the production is Vice from Canada. So you can see at the bottom that when they do the credits, they have the tax stuff from Ontario and the federal government. I mean, if they could pull it off, great. I'd be interested in knowing, okay, how deep does this rabbit hole go? But yeah, Plane Ride from Hell, steroid trial in women's wrestling pre-2010.
I'm sure there are plenty of women they can get over the decades that have lots of stories. Lots of stories that Vince don't want us to hear.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a difference. Here's the thing. There's a difference between WWE's documentaries talking about women pre-revolution, and then when Vice gets a hold of these women, they're like, okay, just let loose. Just whatever. Just tell us everything that happened.
Everything. If you need a little bit of help, we have wine.
I guarantee you, I guarantee you there are stories that Vince does not want getting out, and I would be very interested in hearing what he does not want us to hear.
Trish would probably be getting there because she's retired. JC, what about the invasion? Yeah, no, that's more of a Dark Side of the Ring. For those who don't know, it's like the real dark shit.
Yeah, it's called Dark Side of the Ring for a reason. It's about the real, it's about the dark side of wrestling, the side of wrestling that the glamour and the glitz that you don't see.
Basically, anything WWE would do everything to scrub. The Benoit angle, the Benoit shows are a perfect example of what they're aiming for. Last year, they're talking about the Von Erich tragedy.
The Moolah stuff.
The Moolah stuff. Which, yeah, that's a deep fucking dive right there. The Montreal Screwjob, which was the weakest of it, but, you know,
I think it's only because everybody and their mothers talked about that. I will say this, though. I will say this. Seeing James E. Cornette and Vince Russo slap fighting over it, I'm like, I hate the both of you fuckers, but I'll keep fighting. Keep beating the shit out of each other. That's a heel versus heel match I'll watch. With only one person man enough to referee that match.
Who?
What's his name? Hold on, I just had his name. Fuck, God damn it, I just had his name, but I forgot it.
Uh-oh.
Dangerous Dave something.
Dangerous Danny Davis.
Yep, Dangerous Danny Davis. He has to referee it. Best referee in the business, ever of all time. Boom.
Goddamn right. Winners for Francho Taku. I saw a teaser of Chris Cross. Did I? Oh, no, I'm done. Okay. Chris Jericho, according to more winners, I should say. Chris Jericho, according to Sandra, he's a wrestling angel, managing to reach both her and David after the incident. He may be on top of the villains one of the top villains, but in real life, he is the best at what he does. Mad respect for you, Mr. Le Champion. Yeah, at the end of the actual documentary, you see. We'll bring it up in the third segment. It'll give us something to talk about there. Roman Reigns, good call to put out a good call to get out of WrestleMania since he's mostly vulnerable. After all, he came back from leukemia, which brings me to losers. The idea to put him on in the first place against Goldberg, and now with the awful situation involving COVID-19, also hope and prayers for those affected by it. Dadberg. We'll have surprise opponent for the shows. In other news, Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, and The Miz are all out due to the COVID situation, as well as Andrade, but it's due to an injury. So, why did he get the title shot for Raw Tag Belts in the first place? Panic booking. That's all I can say there. And honestly, the Roman versus Goldberg thing was booked before the shit hit the fan in the first place. This was in plans the minute that they decided Goldberg was going to be a thing. So, this was surprisingly weeks in advance. And the COVID situation happened, and well, here we are. That's pretty much it. Nothing else to say. Enjoy WrestleMania 36 for what it is. And please get this virus out of there. Yeah, I wish we could, bud. I wish we could. I wish MJ Coggins. What about above average Mike Sanders? He's a commissioner, not a ref, isn't he?
No, he's a wrestler.
He's a wrestler. He was a commissioner for a while in WCW. But this was 2000s WCW. Do not ask me how I know that. Just ask me how to send emails. All those are the emails and comments. Send them at thewrestlecast@gmail.com. And all that good stuff. You know what? Yeah, we'll bring the room down, but in a good way. Talk about, we'll play the one thing you want to hear and talk about Dark Side of the Ring in just a few minutes. Do not go too far.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Name?
Name? What's my name? What, have you been hiding under a rock? They don't have TVs in this place. I'm the history maker, the game changer, the first woman to ever main event WrestleMania, walk out of there the champ, Becky Two Belts. Came from nothing, revolutionized the entire industry. I am the man. I am the Raw Women's Champion.
For the cup.
Just Becky. Not too much phone, please.
This is WMOB Mobile, 12 on your channel dial and 12 in the TV ratings.
Don't align yourself with the elite. Join the inner circle.
Last week, I was simply repaying my debt. I don't think, Chris, you understand what you are looking at. You may recognize my vessel. You may know my name. But there is a different entity, a different essence behind the wheel. I am Damascus, and Damascus is over 3,000 years old. And when it comes to creating chaos, violence, and brutality, I am practically perfect.
All right, Damascus. If you're 3,000 years old, that means you're very wise, obviously. And listen, I understand what you're doing here. I understand the reinvention. No one knows more about reinventing themselves than me, than Chris Jericho, right? But when I look at you and I see the amazing gothic cloak and the interesting hairstyle, like the red dash, by the way, that's really sassy. Point being is this, outside you look very different. But inside, you're still the same Matt Hardy that I've known for 25 years.
I can say the same for you. Like the chameleon, you have changed many times over the last 2 decades that I've known you. But inside, you are still an evil essence, rotten to the core. Truly a hole of the ass.
Once again, you're missing this, Matt, like you always have in your entire career. You're the same old Matt Hardy, always a step behind, never quite on top, always living in the shadow. Living in the shadow of your younger brother. Living in the shadow of bad booking. And now you're living in the shadow of Le Champion.
I am not in anyone's shadow. As a matter of fact, maker of pain, my broken brilliance is shining brighter than ever.
Okay, great. Then apply that broken brilliance and that wisdom from being 3,000 years old and make the right choice. I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you inner circle or are you elite?
World's going to find out we're trending #1 on
Delete!
the world. Oh!
Not what I said. I said, are you inner circle or are you elite?
Delete!
Elite!
Delete!
Elite!
Delete!
Elite!
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 Delete!
Elite!
Delete!
Elite!
Delete!
Stop!
Delete!
Stop!
Delete!
Stop!
Delete!
Stop!
Delete! Delete!
Stop!
Delete!
stop? Can't you see that there's nobody here? There's nobody here to chant your stupid catchphrase. You understand
No,
me?
you are wrong. There are essences everywhere in this venue. It is full of essences, and I know typically when you come to the ring, the AEW audience that is here, they like to sing along with your theme song, Judas. Ironically, I knew the real Judas. He betrayed me as well too. But I think all of these essences and the AEW audience at home, they should sing a new song for you. It's a bit of a dirge. It goes like this. You and then a circle shall fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Obsolete! You'll fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Obsolete!
Once again, Matt, nobody here. I banned all fans from AEW shows until I say so. There's nobody here.
No, there are souls, there are essences everywhere here. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not here. I mean, for instance, look over there in 15C. There is one of our greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln. Honest Abe will not lie. Matt Hardy will not die. Over there, Martin Luther King. He still has a dream. Maximilian, they're everywhere.
Okay, listen. I don't see anybody in the crowd.
Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. Just because you don't have faith, because you don't believe, doesn't mean they're not there. Yes, take off your sunglasses, because I want you to look ahead, and I want you to get a long, hard, wonderful look at the essence, the entity that is going to delete you and the inner circle.
Okay, can't really see an entity in there. Is he in there somewhere? I can't see anything, just the same old Matt Hardy. Maybe I should smack it out of you.
Oh! Down goes Jericho!
Back here on RBT Entertainment Productions, the Wrestle Cast, BrokenInfinite.com, Podomatic, Spotify, YouTube, live on Twitch.tv. Matty and TWK, I'm reading this like, delete, elite, yeet, elite, delete, yeet, 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 yeet. Anyway. So, we brought up earlier in the email segment, we brought up the Dark Side of the Ring docuseries, which has started its second season with the Chris Benoit thing. And yeah, we talked about of course, what a segue. Broken Matt Hardy, talking about Chris Benoit in a modern day setting. But I don't know, did you watch both parts, TWK, out of curiosity?
No, I haven't seen either.
If you can, do so.
No, thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so, and I can understand that. I can understand why.
I honestly haven't seen any episodes of Dark Side of the Ring.
Not interested? Just don't want to deep dive?
No, I just haven't gotten around to doing so, really.
Well, I have, for lack of a better term. And, of course, Devin in the chat has.
Divulge.
Well, for those who don't know, it's obvious. We talked earlier. It's about it's going to deep dive into the darkest days in wrestling history, and this one is the evolution from obviously the Chris Benoit double murder suicide in 2007, which almost brought down pro wrestling. Period. A lot of the reviews you've heard about over the last couple of weeks, they're fairly accurate. I'm probably not going to add too much into the conversation. David Benoit, who is the spitting image of his dad, ironically enough. But he's the one who said, no, they approached him. They said, who do we need to for this documentary? All right, well, obviously me and my aunt. You need Jericho, Chavo, Dean, Here's a list of people. They all showed up. Jim Ross was in there. He was part of the management. They detailed what Chris Benoit was, and he was a work ethic was what he was. They detailed his early days, his moving from WCW, his meeting Nancy Sullivan, woman, as we brought up earlier, to the two kids. For those wondering, David is Benoit's son from a previous marriage. So that's, he was, so technically the stepchild, if you want to be technical about it, but he breaks up in the documentary. The word step did not exist. He was family no matter what, on both sides from what it looks like. And it details, the rigors of the road, the sacrifices Chris Benoit did, and his relationship with Eddie Guerrero, which was way, way deeper than that was previously thought. Long story short, the minute Eddie Guerrero died was where everyone is saying that's when everything started to go very, very wrong. And obviously, the first part was the ramp up, and then the second part was the day itself, and then everything that happened ever since. And Devin, I'm going to stop here right now. David, if David's good, he has to earn on his own merit, but I don't think anyone of a mainstream persuasion will ever want to touch. And it's unfortunate because of the association. But David Benoit cannot go wrestle under his dad's name. It will not work. He will be not. That name's been blacklisted for better or for worse, unfortunately.
Also, he's never had a match.
And we need to see some actual in-ring work before we say, oh, he's good or bad.
Yeah, he needs to, work his way through the indies like everyone else and prove himself before he gets signed to any major promotion.
I will say this, though. If he presents half the work ethic his dad had, and let's be honest, half it will be enough because the work ethic that his dad had was above and beyond sanity.
I've heard so many stories about how he would get concussions on like a nightly basis and then go wrestle the next day.
Jericho brought up an interesting story from one of their matches in Japan. And, there was a missed spot. Didn't look that bad. The match continued, was fine. And Benoit, after the match, did, I think it was 500 squats because he didn't do his job correctly. He had one botch. And he had to punish himself to do that. If David doesn't do that but presents a work ethic that is half of what his dad brought, and has the talent and skill to forge ahead, I don't see why not. I don't see why he shouldn't be successful in pro wrestling, but he will have to be mindful that, yes, honor your father's memory, but at the same time understand your father's memory is tainted no matter what you do. It is a dead brand.
And hello, D. Cohen. How you doing?
How's it going? Welcome to the madness. That being said, the second half also detailed the aftermath and the lead up and everything else. Hanging in what you see here, stay safe, but hopefully we give you an extra. We're on for another 10 minutes, I think, from this point, so please enjoy the rest of the show. And we'll point you to something to watch after, of course. But so they go into the details, and something struck me as very interesting. For obviously talk about the CTE that Chris Benoit obviously had the brain of someone who had dementia in his 80s, and it struck me. I'm not going to go too deep because it is a very personal story. My grandmother, who had passed away late last year, she had dementia. She had pretty much gone into onset Alzheimer's at the point, but she had dementia. She had been diagnosed with dementia about a couple of years before my grandfather passed away, her husband. And we've had conversations where I would say about, okay, the progression of her dementia. And we went, it's going to take, the minute my grandfather passes away will be the minute we will see a sharp decline in my grandmother's health, which was, long story short, that's pretty much what happened. About a few years later, about 5 years later, there we go. But it wasn't as sharp as expected, but it was that traumatic event that triggered something in that brain, that in her brain, that it went really, really down. And there's a parallel, and I will never ever compare my grandmother to Chris Benoit, especially in the last few days. That's evil. But when they talk about Chris Benoit, he was always a little weird, especially in the last few years of his life. And then Eddie passes away, and the way he reacted, the way he behaved in that last year. And it's like, yeah, okay, CT fucked his brain up. And he had a brain of dementia. He probably had dementia at his age. That's how crazy that became.
Yeah, I mean, to illustrate just how crazy of a person he was, he'll take chair shots to the back of the head on a regular basis. And the back of the head is way more vulnerable than the front.
Yeah, that's why they say watch the rabbit punches and the punches behind the back of the head in boxing, because, you know, as dangerous as punches are, they're especially dangerous at the back of the head. And Devin brought it up. Nancy wanted him to quit literally, I think, 3 or 4 months after Eddie's passing, because she saw, okay, this is not working. But Benoit was ever the obsessive. But as Fronto Talker brought up in the email, there is a sort of silver lining. Obviously, in the aftermath, David and the Sullivan, David Benoit and Sandra, Nancy Benoit's sister, they grew distant. They had no contact through either, because either family did not want to associate anymore. There was awkwardness. Jericho, I believe that was either Vegas or one of the shows nearby when he won or probably Chicago, because it was probably Chicago. But he had brought David and Sandra back together. First time in 13 years that happened. And both were happy to see each other, as if things have picked up. So, if there's a silver lining, it's the fact that there was a reunion, a somewhat happy reunion, that both were able to at least try to cope with their grief. But this was a dark, dark time, and the irony was Chris Benoit was such a passionate devotee to wrestling that what he did almost not only erased his legacy, but almost killed wrestling in the process. Because I remember that 2007, 2008, I was on the outs because I couldn't watch it. We didn't have TSN on cable back in college up until like late 2008, early 2008. And I could tell you that was awkward as hell. Just seeing that play out was...
It was definitely a time, although
surreal.
I think is a word. I don't think pro wrestling itself was in any danger.
No, well, WWE was in deep shit, that's for sure.
There was a lot of things going on, but it was all for show. All these Congress people threatening investigations feel like it was all for show, and it turned out to be very much that.
It was for show. And they wanted to they all get slapped with the wrist, so on you go, on you pop.
Yeah, this one of the brownie points, and what ended up happening, the only real bright spot happened because this is the fact that WWE are finally now taking concussion seriously. Like
Eddie
Russell's had to
Guerrero's
retire
passing
because of it.
started the wellness policy, but it was never taken seriously. Chris Benoit and the subsequent, and of course the NFL, the controversy with concussions, that underlined, okay, fuck chair shots to the head, they're banned. And pile drivers became subsequently banned not too long after. And amazingly enough, the diving headbutt, but still a thing.
I don't know why.
Daniel Bryan still does it. I hope someone went to him and said, never again.
Yeah, I believe Harley Race has once quoted saying that he regrets bringing that move into existence.
Told Dynamite Kid, don't do it. Dynamite Kid does it. Dynamite Kid winds up in a wheelchair, tells Benoit, don't do it. Benoit does it. Winds up the way he is. I don't know, man. And Devin, you have to YouTube his matches. Actually, the network, the big reason why they do the disclaimer at the beginning of of everything they put together in their backlog is because of Chris Benoit. They put that disclaimer and said, listen, there are some people that we find unsavory. Just so you know, you could turn your shit off. And this was filmed long ago. We do not associate with that now. Basically, the disclaimer is a catch-all saying, this shit happened then. This is not what we are now. So you can watch Chris Benoit matches on the WWE Network. It's just, you have to know. I mean, most of it's WCW and anything 2000s to 2001 obviously is available. You just have to know where to look. You can't search directly, but Royal Rumble 2001, that ladder match is still up there. WrestleMania 20, as sad as it is, as that ending is, it is up there, uncensored. You know, most of the TV matches you have to YouTube. The TLC 4 match specifically, you have to the tag match in 2001, the same one that saw Triple H bust his first quad. That's a vid that you have to YouTube that, unfortunately. But beyond that, most of the pay-per-view matches are available on the WWE Network in full.
Time to get to winners and losers?
Let's do that. I will say this. If you folks are fans of documentary and docuseries, worth it, but it's dark. And this one, I will say this. I had to stop a couple times because it got real. Let's put it that way. When they got Eddie's death, I cried. No, not going to lie there. But let's do winners and losers. T-Dub, you kick us off as always.
Let's see my losers this week. I'm going to give it to Vince McMahon for being a stubborn fool.
More like a stubborn dumbass than anything else. And D. Cohen, watch part 2. And it's a tough watch, but it's I'd say it's tough to watch, but a required viewing if you're interested. For me, COVID-19, because it keeps fucking shit up. And, of course, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, because... Damn. And, yeah, D. Cohen, absolutely. Part 1 was hard as hell to watch. Absolutely. But if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, of the true crime stuff, this was a crime thing. So, anyway, let's get positive. Let's do some winners.
My winners this week are everyone putting out content, trying to entertain the masses while they're stuck at home. You guys are the heroes.
I'll tell you who else are the heroes. Anyone that's in the front lines. I'm talking, I'm talking the nurses, the doctors, the grocery clerks.
Yeah, anybody who has to work cash register right now, you're definitely a hero.
And D. Cohen, you sound like the Fink. T-Dub?
Your winner and the new World Wrestling Federation champion, Jinder Mahal.
He says that's a compliment. Right? Well, T-Dub, I think you should take that as a compliment. That's awesome.
Yes, I've always, liked imitating the Fink. In fact, I have a T-shirt that says, "I'm gonna Finkle this."
I know that shirt. For me, obviously, the frontline people, nurses, anyone working in hospitals, grocery stores, gas stations, anyone that's forced to go out there because they're essential services, you are a winner, obviously. Outside of that, Seth Rollins, we didn't feature him in Kevin Owens' promo on Monday, but he and Kevin benefit the most out of this empty arena stuff because Seth Rollins laid some truth down at the Performance Center. David Benoit, because that could not have been easy to do any of that documentary stuff. He gets a winner just because, hey, it's not easy talking about your dad, especially when your dad is Chris Benoit. Vice, Dark Side, for obvious reasons. Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega on AEW Dynamite comms. Tony Schiavone as well, because Tony, he said he was nervous going into comms, but at the end of the night, and we're out of time! Classic.
Right, I'm gonna go Matanacho!
But Cody dropping a lot of great old school references. He did good. Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy for all of the obvious reasons, and Chris Jericho for the obvious reasons in the ring, and obviously a double winner because of what he did in that documentary. I'm pretty sure he was a big part of that as well. And Jon Moxley, because he had to be Moxley, and did a cameo on WWE backstage just to show off a cute dog.
What's Dean Moxley doing in the Raw Zone?
For those who don't know, the WWE backstage, they're working from home. It was Renee Young, Booker T, and Xavier Woods, Austin Creed. They're doing their job, and of course, they're working from home, and guess who's home as well? Jon Moxley. He shows up, doggo. Hey, I got the dog. Just scares the bejeebus out of Renee and gets a chuckle out of both Booker T and Xavier Woods. Hey, how you doing? I got a dog. Booker T, cameo. And of course, it's Fox. They're going to leave that shit in. And Mox gets to fuck around with Vince McMahon, even just for a little bit, just a tad. That's always fun. Oh, and Deacon, did you see Moxley superkick Renee? I think we talked about that last week, didn't we?
No, that happened just a few days ago.
Oh, that happened this week. Okay, so Renee and a few other Canadians are doing a toilet roll hockey stick challenge thing, I guess to raise charity or whatever on TikTok or whatever. Renee she's got a ringette stick, which is basically hockey with like a ring instead of a puck. And she does the bounce. I only got one. I challenge this one. And super kick. Moxley takes the roll, runs off. That's a happy couple right there. That's relationship goals right there. Just saying. Anyway, T-Dub, you're pushing out new content.
Yeah, I'm working on a new video as we are speaking. I'm trying.
You want to get that video out? You want to see that video? Just before you do that, and you're able to do so, you can check out TWK's Patreon, patreon.com/TWK reviews. Just $1. You get to see his video a couple days early. Just saying. Of course, if you are able to afford any donation at all, you could also, I have my tip jar, paypal.me/manager316. Especially at this time, donations are absolutely optional, and they will not go to me. They're going to help out our good buddy Spade Ace, who will definitely need it. So any donations this month, I'll kick in whatever I can kick in. And so if you folks want to put in a couple of bucks, they'll go straight to our buddy Spade Ace. So paypal.me/MattyJ316. You can follow us on Twitter at MattyJ316, at TWK Official. We got merch, streamlabs.com/RVT Entertainment/merch. T-shirts, mugs, buy the stuff. And, of course, the WrestleCast@gmail.com for emails. Deco and Switch Gears, what do you think Impact will do after their Atlanta tapings are done?
They got nothing. They can't do anything.
They can't do anything. With everything on lockdown, I think they're going to have to try
Here's
to...
the thing.
Yeah.
If WWE can't do anything, nobody can do anything.
You know, the WWE got lucky to get the 2 or 3 days of like mass tapings for everything up until April 6th. The order for Orange County goes to April 9, and that could be extended. If that extends, WWE is putting up file footage on Raw and SmackDown, and especially NXT.
Welcome to the best of Monday Night Raw, aka the Gary Stratum Power Hour.
So what happens after their Atlanta? They got nothing. I mean, you could sleep on it as well, Z's, but that's the reality where we're living in. I mean, obviously, you understand.
Yeah, MLW's got nothing. Reality Wrestling's got nobody has anything going forward. At time being, New Japan has nothing. There are some Japanese companies doing empty arena shows, but that's not it. Really.
There are some Japanese shows trying, but with everything going tits up soon after, they decide to scale back shows again. So we're looking at a very dry April, wrestling wise.
Things might pick up in May, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch.
Yeah,
let's just take this one day.
We'll be lucky to have wrestling in April, past April 9. That's unfortunately the reality. But I will say this. The week after April 9 and it gets extended, I'm watching Raw just to see what the fuck they're trying to pull. I'm interested to see what the fuck is Vince going to try to pull a live wrestling show.
The side boob hour. Did you like that side boob? Well, you shouldn't, because it was my side boob.
Oh, God. Deco and HLA. Oh, we might have to, pal.
Stephanie, you might want to get out on there, getting me all excited again.
Anyway, that being said, that is the show. We thank you very much for tuning in and saying hi to us for a couple of minutes. We appreciate it. We got another show this week, and of course, WrestleMania next week, and the week after that, WrestleMania the review. After that, we don't know what the fuck, but we're here for at least a couple more weeks. At the very least. But until then, on behalf of my good buddy TWK.
Until next time, this is TWK Reviews telling you to work your gimmick.
My name is Matty Jay, reminding you to help professional wrestling support independent promotion as soon as possible. On that note, if you see GoFundMe's or they're doing no fan shows and they have a donation thing, support that if you can, when you can. If you got to buy a DVD or a digital thing, actually you can't buy a DVD, but if you could go digital, a lot of digital services out there, independent wrestling, a lot of them go through that. Google it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm going to say. Support your independent promotion as soon as possible. Have a good one. Have a safe one. And by the way, the have a good one, have a safe one, I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that before that became a thing. But do have a safe one. And wash your damn hands. Bye. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. Everybody bye.
So,
With all this coronavirus business going around, pro wrestlers are out of work, and now they're doing disgusting, depraved, deplorable acts just to make ends meet. And Warhorse is no exception. So, if you don't mind, Warhorse has to get back to work.
Hey everybody, you're listening to 102.5 Soft Rock Radio. I'm your host, normal talking sane person, Breeze Horse. The weather outside's looking great. It's about 74 degrees out there, not a cloud in the sky. Go ahead, take the boat out because you're in for some smooth sailing. And just to make sure you keep that yacht rocking, here's Rosanna by Toto. You know, keep it cool, keep it calm, keep it collected. Keep it right here on 102.5 Soft Rock Radio.